Hello, YouTube. Thanks for checking out my channel. I'm Benjamin Mira. I have no marketable hiring skills. Um, I am a high school dropout. I was a pastor for evangelical movement church. I was in that whole world for the first 20 plus years of my life. I became an ordained minister at 18 years old back in 2004. Hard to believe that was 20 years ago. I just realized that because it's 2024. So, yeah, on my birthday, actually, of 2004, I became an ordained minister. It's a big deal at the time. But then, since that time, I've realized it's not such a big deal. I have a wife, I have two daughters, and I talk about the four F's: faith, family, finance, and fitness, and how everything in life falls under those four categories. So, really, it's kind of a cheat code to talk about whatever I want, which is why I'm here to talk about whatever I want. Shortly after I became a pastor, my eyes were open to the business that church is and some of the disingenuine psychobabble and pagan practices that go on at most churches. Evangelical, I'm talking. Really, most churches, period. Catholics, definitely. Um, Interesting. I've got a lot of conspiracy theories. Conspiracies are real. Theories are how we connect the dots on those conspiracies. So I talk a lot about that. It's funny because since like 2020, the conspiracy theories, the conspiracy theorists have been kicking all the scientists and doctors and those who believe in science. We've been kicking their asses. Very simply, very simple information. Um, if you don't like Jesus, you won't like my channel. Everything in my life is, as much as I can tell, filtered with the kingdom of God filter. So, not that I'm perfect or I never use a colorful word. I just am a real person. Hello. And I enjoy life. I enjoy smoking, drinking, eating, hanging, business, investing, inspiring, making people laugh and laughing with others. And I just really am squeezing everything that I can out of this life, knowing that I'm living for continued life on this earth in a glorified body through salvation in Jesus Christ. So, I guess I'll back up a little bit. I won't take too much longer here, but this is just kind of my intro video, who I am, and how we're kind of kicking this off. After the church thing, kind of my pastoral work came to an end, was at least in a kind of a corporate setting. I went and started a band, and that was in 2008. I started a band. 2 years later, I was on stage at the Tacoma Dome playing for 15,000 people, opening up a big thing, big event for Desmond Tutu, amongst many other very famous people. And at that moment, I was like, I envisioned this. Literally in 2003, I went to a concert at the Tacoma Dome, and I saw a lot of my favorite artists, like Lifehouse at the time. They were one of my favorites. Daniel Bedingfield, Eve, the rapper. Who else was there? The Osbourne chick. Not Sharon Osbourne, but the daughter. That definitely wasn't one of my favorite bands or artists. So I went to a concert that I really enjoyed it. Kiss 106.1 FM with Jackie and Bender. Anyways, dang, am I aging myself? Who knows? I don't even know. I don't know. I don't listen to the radio anymore. Nobody really does. Wow, life has changed in 20 years. Anyways, 2003, I was 17 years old, and I told myself, I could play the Tacoma Dome. I know I could get there. I don't know how, but... And this was when I was in the church world. So I was in the church world, I was like, I have this dream to do rock and roll. I still did. I was like a worship pastor. I was a preaching pastor. I was kind of like a youth pastor. I did kind of all those things. I traveled around the world. I did music and preached at churches and youth groups and things like that. It's crazy. At 18 years old. 17, 18. To 2011. So 2003, I told myself that, and I promised myself I would be on that stage one day. In 2011, I found myself on that stage. It was crazy. So that was one of the first experiences really where I manifested something that was just so bizarre and amazing, and it really put my band on the map in a regional sense. And from there, I was just like all into rock and roll. I was done. Like, I mean, I was done before that, but that really just solidified. I was like done with anything else. I didn't know a thing about business. I didn't know a thing about sales. I didn't know a thing about marketing. I just knew that I loved music, and I was already playing this big stage, and I was like, I'm done. Sign me up. So I did that. And then for the next, I guess late 2008 through to like 2017, I went hard on music. And in that time, I realized that I really didn't have what it took at that time to be successful in a way that I wanted. Because of all those things that I mentioned, I didn't know about business. I didn't know about sales. I didn't know about marketing. I didn't know about data. I didn't know about social media. I mean, I knew about it. I used these things, but I was just like not the sharpest tool in the shed, period. Like, I was not smart. I was a very, very foolish person. And I went and, started picking up some bad habits. And, like, we played sold out shows everywhere. I was Mr. Popular. I couldn't really go anywhere in my hometown, in Seattle, without seeing somebody I knew, or, somebody stopping me, talking about music or my band. Saw you at whatever, it was crazy. It was crazy. Not saying I'm like Mr. Famous. I'm a nobody. But it was just a time. It was this moment in time that was just really magical. But I also picked up a lot of bad habits. Kept up my faith, but I didn't really read the Bible. Didn't study the Bible that much. Was completely shut off to church. Didn't want to do church. I was just living life, being stupid, trying to have fun. But the whole time, I just really felt there was a lot of moments of misery as well. So, during the day, I'd be like gutter cleaning and pressure washing and painting houses and apartment complexes, which is actually a really good job. Just wasn't what I wanted to be doing at the time, and I didn't realize the opportunity that was there, or what it could have become if I'd have taken it seriously. How much more money it would have generated than just music. And how, it was a good job. It was good. I just hated it. Not that I was making a bunch. I didn't realize, there's a book called Acres of Diamonds. And it's about a guy who, he's dreaming of finding these diamonds. He wants to find a diamond mine. I think this is how the story goes. I've never read the book, but the analogy works. There were acres of diamonds in this guy's backyard that he didn't know about. It's one of the biggest diamond deposits in the world, and he didn't know about it. And he owned this field, this acreage, this plot of land. But he was so consumed with finding the diamonds, finding it somewhere in China or wherever he was looking. And he ended up selling his plot of land to the person who then discovered that that piece of land was the largest diamond, one of the largest diamond deposits on Earth at the time, at least. And what the guy wanted, the seller, what he sold his land to go find diamonds, but he didn't realize that he was sitting on acres of diamonds. And so I think in life, I'll get back to that, acres of diamonds. This really describes my life in a big way. So acres of diamonds. Then, so I was doing this whole music thing, musician by night. I was like a painter by day, rock star by night, and it was fun for a while. But then, I started getting older. I met a girl. We got married 8 months later. Now I've been married to her for almost 11 years, and we have 2 kids. And in that time, I wasn't ready to get married. I don't know why I got married or why she wanted to marry me, other than I was Mr. Popular and I had a silver tongue, and I knew the jive and the BS, and I knew how to pick up this woman. And I did. And marriage is like a trap. It's God's trap on mankind. You think that, you're thinking about one thing. Yeah, I got the butterflies. Oh, so and so pretty. Oh, he's so handsome and strong, popular. But then when she saw my bank account, I'm surprised she didn't run. It's crazy. I didn't know nothing about money still. This was back in 2012, 2013. About 11 years ago, 12 years ago now. So I there's a lot that I've learned. There's a lot that I've learned. There's a lot that I've overcome. There's a lot of dragons I've faced. There's a lot of regrets that I've had to work through in my life. There's some people that are like, oh, never, no regrets. I'm like, no, I definitely have some regrets. But it's not things that I kind of focus on. But I think about a lot of the things that I did that I regret. Well, I've worked through those things. I've gotten past those things. I'm sure my wife had to work through regret for marrying me in a number of scenarios, a number of ways. But I mean, I'm blessed. And now, what does my life look like? Well, like I said, I've been married 11 years. I have 2 daughters. My family is my life. I used to be much more extroverted and loud, and now I'm much more introverted. And while I have a lot to say, naturally, when the camera's on, it's time to talk. But when the camera's off, most of the time, I just zip it and throw the key out. Zip it, lock it, throw the key out. But, I have a good life. I live on an island in Florida. We own some real estate. We have a great business. We have a virtual bookkeeping practice that we've owned for 8 years. And that's allowed us to pursue and to begin to grow our wealth and to begin to, leverage that into investing into other things like cryptocurrency, the stock market, real estate. I love equity in businesses. I like precious metals, even though I don't own any. It's not really convenient for me right now, and I'm not going that direction. There's a lot of things that I can talk about in terms of investing, your mindset, your emotions, what to do, what not to do, long-term perspective, just things that I've been learning. I am 38 years old. Isn't that crazy? 38 years old. I know I'm looking pretty good for 38. Remember my dad always said, because I would give my dad crap about his belly when he was like 40. He was like 40. I was like, whatever, 7, 8. He'd be like, oh, I hope I live to see you when you're 40. So that's really always motivated me to be fit and strong. I'll work out and keep a chiseled jaw with my, what do they call it? The jazzercise. No, I work out is a very, very important part of my life. The sunshine is a very important part of my life. I was in the Pacific Northwest in Washington State for 23 years before I moved to Florida back in 2020. We were a COVID move when all the people of the world lost their ever-loving minds back in 2020. And then they tried to demonize and Nazify and label as mass murderers those people that didn't get vaxxed. To where last month they just pulled the AstraZeneca vaccine because of serious, serious blood clot side effects and heart condition side effects. It's pretty amazing. So I like to say I was right from the beginning. I was right. I was more right than all the doctors. Isn't that crazy? From the beginning of COVID, I knew that it was a total hoax, that it's total bullshit. And so it is what it is. We have a family friend right now in Australia. This kid was top number one in the country of Australia. So I think motorbikes racing. And this kid got vaccinated back then for the purpose of being able to travel, for them allowing him to travel to Portugal for these races. Well, since that time, he's blacked out while driving. His heart just stopped this last week. I think it was 3 days ago. He was vomiting when they put him into the ambulance. His parents were freaking out. And now he's dealing with the side effects that have come from the vaccine. 1,000%. That's what it's from. So anyways, there's things like that I know, that I can tell you about, that we can talk about, that I will talk about. Things about health that people need to become aware of. I did the whole ban thing in the beginning days of social media, not like 2000, I was on social media since I've been on social media since MySpace. Isn't that crazy? MySpace. And that was I probably got on there around 2002, 2003, and eventually migrated over to the other socials. Bottom line is I've been in this game for a while. I've posted a lot of comment. I've dealt with a lot of trolls, and I just really love, it gives me energy when people, talk trash. I love it. People are crazy, people are nuts. And it's interesting when you speak your truth, like the world tells you, speak your truth, bro, get your truth out. When you do that, but it violates the world's truth, then they tell you to shut up. But you're going to have to do a lot more than troll me on YouTube or socials to make me shut up. Anyways, thanks for being here. We're going to be studying a lot of the Bible. We're going to be talking about things that are dear to my heart. Fatherhood, parenting, business, investing. Bible, studying the Bible. I'm constantly studying and learning in the Bible. I'm not a scholar, I'm a student. But through the power of incredible information, I might be a scholar to some extent. You don't need to have a degree to know what you're talking about. It's interesting, in the book of Acts, they saw that these men had been with Jesus and they were ordinary men. They were unschooled, ordinary men. I have a lot to say about school. I know a lot of people that went to school and they're broke. I know a lot of people that went to college and they're broke and they're unhappy and they're not working in the field of the degree of their choice. And even as early as last week, I had a new friend come to me and ask me advice about him starting a business. So I talk a lot about business startup, motivation, perseverance, and that's who I am. That's what I do. Benjamin Mira speaks. For years, I didn't know what my superpower was. In the beginning of my life, this is what most people can't say. I had an interesting life in this regard, I think. Is that from the age of 0, from the time before I was born, my parents were dedicated to church. It was my dad's career. My mom participated with him in that career. And we had no choice, as any good parent wouldn't give their children any choice. It's just how it works. Parents make choices for you when you're young. So my parents chose that we were going to do church, and I did that. And so I had probably by the age of 18 put in 20,000 hours in church work, understanding church, learning about people, learning about the Bible, learning about the religion and the rote, and thinking it was the Bible in some ways, and thinking it was God's plan, and then learning also, some very good things, meeting some great people that I'm still friends with. And I see church in a very different way. I see the world in a very different way. I had 20,000 hours by the age of 18, probably more. And so I was very confident, probably far too confident, overconfident, I would say. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Maybe I'll talk some about this in my videos as we move forward with this. But it was amazing. Like, I had an amazing life. I traveled the world. I met very famous pastors. People prophesied to me my whole life. Oh, you're going to lead churches, Ben. You're going to be a pastor, all this stuff. And I believe those things, but it's just not going to be in the way that maybe everybody thought in the beginning. But I had a lot of experience, and I knew what I was going to do, and I was set, and I was focused on all those things, to where in 2005, everything changed. And I decided I don't want to do this anymore. And that was crazy. That was a moment of testing, and a moment where I really lost all my confidence. I didn't have, well, I don't say all my confidence, but most of my confidence was gone. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to make money. I just knew that my only hireable, marketable skills was church. That was it. And I was offered after that jobs by mega churches to be their worship pastor, to be a pastor, a college pastor, whatever. I've been offered different jobs with no degree, just with the experience that I had at the time and my understanding of that whole world. I still speak. I'm fluent in Christianese. And it's a real language I'm fluent in. And so I also speak English. And so I can interpret what's going on pretty well. But yeah, I don't want to blab on. My life is good. Really good. And it's time for me. I know that it's time for me because I've put this off for a while. I've done videos. You can go see some old stuff, and I've kept things coming, but I know that it's time for me to start speaking and opening my mouth again. Kind of like back in the band days, in my band days, my music industry days. It's time for me to start speaking again. And I've known that, and I felt that, and I think I said earlier, referenced, I didn't know what my superpower was. One of my friends, Dr. James Whitaker, he built the Bing search engine. He was a Microsoft executive. He knows Bill Gates and Satya Nadella and Steve Ballmer on a first-name basis. He's my friend, James. And he is famous for his course called Career Superpowers. He made a lot of money speaking that course, giving that talk, that lecture, all over the world for many years. And while I read his book, Career Superpowers, while I went to his course, while I actually videotaped his course, and turned it into a video format. Um, I never knew what my superpower was. I think it was just a lack of confidence. I didn't know what I don't know. And you know, there's a lot that goes into that. Some people really know right away. Some people have a lot of clarity on that. And I did have my superpower, which was church, Pastor Ben. You know, it's Pastor Ben. Everybody called me that. That was my initial superpower, church stuff. But then I just said I don't want to do it. I just knew that it was not the direction I want to go with my life. I dreamed of other things, and I didn't want to go through what I went through in 2005. And so now, to the point where within even just the last year and a half, I've really settled on and understood that my superpower, without a doubt, is communication. I know how to speak. I know how to think. I know how to communicate, whether that be through written word, spoken word, music, hand signals, smoke signals, bird calls. No, I can't do bird calls. But no, I know that that's something that God wants me to do. I also want to make some money doing this. But that's not really the motivating factor. The motivating factor for me is that I have a body of work so you can know me. And so that not just you can know me, but my kids can know me. Say something was to happen to me, God forbid, and my time on this earth was done. Not really God forbid either, because while it would be bad for my family and people back here, this body is not me. This skin is not me. What I'm touching here, this is just a moment in time. This is just energy and frequency and humming and vibration. That's what this is. And in the end, when the end to this world as we know it, when that end comes, this body, I will shed this body, and I will be like the angels in heaven, is what Jesus said. And one way or the other, I want to leave a body of work for my kids so that I could give wisdom to my kids forever, and to their kids, and to their kids after them. I don't think the world is going to, I don't know that the world is going to remember me. The world doesn't even remember Prince. The world doesn't even remember John Candy. The world doesn't remember Kobe Bryant. A little bit. Maybe that's a bad example. I'm not saying I'm one of those people. Maybe I will be. I don't know. But I want to, for as long into the future as I can, as far into the future as I can, I want to leave a legacy for my kids in communication and video and my beliefs and my thoughts and my love for God and my love for my family and any wisdom that I've learned and that I'm learning. I want to leave that for my kids and my family. And so I also want to leave it for you. But yeah, God bless y'all. Thanks for watching. This is going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun. I'm already having fun. See, when it's not work to you, or what is it? When you find out the thing that you love is not work for you. Isn't that how it goes? When you find out the career that you were meant, the job that you were meant to do, your purpose in life, it's not work for you. I'm going talking. I mean, like, I'm already having so much fun. Can't you see it on my face? I love this stuff. So, that's a little bit about me in a nutshell. That's condensing 38 years into 29 minutes. And, yeah. Dig into the videos. I've got different buckets. So I'll have different buckets. One for like Bible study. Probably one for faith. One for family. One for finance. One for fitness. Maybe I'll just have those four. I don't really know. But content's coming. I also have a podcast that we've been doing. We have probably about 30 hours worth of podcast material, my wife and I. And we just haven't gotten around to posting it just yet. But you know what? That's okay, because it's coming. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for commenting. I'd love to interact with y'all if you're nice and not a troll, because then I'll just make fun of you or else I'll block you. Much love.